Very frustrating. We got a disappointed locker room. If there's any positive notes, I think it really hurts these guys. They put in a lot of work since last January to where we are today. Not just the last week of preparation for these guys, but they put in a lot to invest in the season. 2 opportunities are behind us. Obviously, 10 are guaranteed in front of us. So, got a lot of work to do. I've said it since the day I got here to the point where we're at right now. It's just I've been in this business long enough. Right before you can win, you have to stop from losing. And I think we did enough things as coaches, for me as a head coach, that I got to obviously do a much better job of emphasizing the things that we self-inflicted today. You know, I could just literally go through offensively, defensively, and certain phases of the game, just nonsense things that we got to clean up to have a couple of those penalties. But, we do some things to overcome it. I think a critical point in the game, it just felt like it was right there for us to push it over the edge. I thought Hightower claimed up and down that he caught that pass in the back of the end zone, and obviously that went to replay. So I think that was kind of not just a mental play for our kids, but like they really, Ryan was just animated that he caught that. So I think if that would have, happened, but the game isn't made out of woulda, coulda, shoulda. So we got to overcome those moments. I think the part that was positive, right? Like we had a lot of guys, we are paper thin at certain positions. So Julian Pearl wasn't available for the game, but we moved Isaiah Adams out to left tackle. Jordan Slaughter went in there. I know he rushed for some good numbers. We weren't able to rush in the most critical moment down there in the low red area to come away with a score. So, I think from a health standpoint, I think we came out a little bit good. Taz, who obviously couldn't be out there at the beginning of that last phase, he'd been nursing himself through a little bit of a soft tissue. Didn't even know we were going to have him this week. He found a way to make it go, but I think for the most part we came out of it pretty healthy. But it's going to be a big week ahead of us. We got a long drive back home. We got to hydrate. It's been a long game here today. Obviously, one that we got to make sure that we recover from. Tomorrow, the guys will have a day off. By NCAA rules, we didn't take one on Monday, so kind of tomorrow we'll hopefully learn a lot about our players on how they recover and get themselves ready for a Sunday practice, and then Virginia on the backside. So with that, open it up for questions.
Coach, a lot of stops on defense, and then there was the last drive. Did you change anything on the last drive, or was it just them making plays?
At halftime, I did make reference to both sides of the ball that, we had rushed for over 100 yards. I think they had 12 yards at the half. I'm like, for Indiana to win the game, it was evident that they were going to have to throw the football, right? There was a couple critical plays there. I think that we got to make sure that what we're doing defensively, just make sure we're not giving them easy access, right, to deny some leverage on the routes. I think we're playing a little bit of improper leverage, but it wasn't one call, and it really, as much as it comes down to that last drive, it shouldn't have come down to that last drive. I think that game is something that game should have been won, midway through the third quarter when we came out, got a defensive stop, and our offense went down and did what they did. Obviously, with a turnover on defense, and then the offense to take advantage of it. I think that's a point where a good team, or a team that we hope to be, can put the foot on the gas there and hopefully take it away.
Brett, can you walk me through the fourth down decision you had down there to go for it instead of going for the field?
Yeah, really just felt like we again had been pushing ourselves right to the brink, and had a couple of situations where we didn't come away with points. I thought defensively we were playing really good football, so that was probably the biggest decision more than anything. We felt good about the call. We had several timeouts. I know. Obviously, the result was a failure, so that's on me 100%. But yeah, I really felt at that time we go up 2 scores and we could kind of take the game. And for a team that's trying to learn how to win, I think we needed that buffer to win this game. I think the defense made a stop right away and came back with it. So the momentum swing that you hopefully avoided didn't prevail. But yeah, we got to come away with points. A couple of those field goal opportunities that, touchdowns it could have been, and then we kind of had even that play there at the end, with Caleb hit the long field goal, but that was, again, a self-inflicted penalty that could have put us maybe in a situation to possibly go for it.
But you had a couple tough losses like this last year. You said you got to learn how to not lose games for you, or win games for you. How do you do that? How do you figure that out?
Well, I think we'll have to be brutally honest with our coaches, right? Like there's a play that we turn the ball over on a backwards pass. That's not supposed to be that way. We're supposed to, so we have to have a better design concept to make sure that doesn't happen. That's on me. every aspect of the game, offense, defensively. I think we just got to make sure that what we're teaching and what we're saying and what we're demanding we get, right? And it's football 101 to make sure that we can put ourselves in a position to be successful. I think that, our coaches have done a great job building relationships with our players, and it's in moments like this where you're going to really rely and lean on those relationships, because this is a tough one to lose this time of the season early on against a Big Ten opponent on the road, and we did about everything we could do to mess this up, and in the end, the only thing we can do is learn from this, because if we don't, history will repeat itself again.
When you got down the red zone, what were maybe some of the biggest things offensively kind of kept you guys from finishing those
Yeah, I
games?
think we weren't able to, for sure we weren't able to run the ball as closer we got to the goal line, right? Like there was definitely some times where, including the fourth down call, right? Like we were trying to get the ball, and obviously they had one too many for us to block, or they got off and made a play on the edge. I think we got to, it's the first time Barry's been down in those situations with our offense. For us as a head coach, in that moment, I got to do a better job of setting the expectation once we get down there of how we got to convert. But when you get down that low, and touchdowns win games, field goals, make it a contest. But we got to be able to score touchdowns when we're in that low red.
Some broken plays, and pass defense was so sound. Is there anything that you quickly pointed out maybe that was wrong that allowed for some of those big plays?
Our defense.
On your defense, yeah, Indiana's big passing.
Yeah, I was trying to be ahead of the chain, so I really wasn't watching the schematic. I know what the play was called, but I really didn't even see because we had 3 timeouts, and I kept saying, hey, if we don't like the call, we don't like the call. We get a timeout. But we felt good about where it was. I would have liked to get a possibility a little bit more pressure, to make that decision come out. But there were too many uncontested balls on that last drive, right? If we're gonna play a scheme, we got to make sure that we contest them either at the line of scrimmage or in their route, so that they just don't have easy access. With some, to give Indiana credit, they were able to, execute it at its best when it was one of the most critical points.
You got a little more pressure today than against Wyoming, but are you concerned that there's just maybe not enough havoc in the backfield for the opposing quarterback?
I think anytime you can put a pressure on a quarterback mentally or physically, that's going to help you, right? And I don't know, if I could sit here right now and say what kind of pressure we did or didn't get. I know there was a couple hits on him that we got there and landed. I know there was a couple miscue on our rushes that there was one for sure when we lost contained that resulted in a big play. And really haven't faced a running quarterback yet. So I think that element is definitely a challenge that we got to be up for when we start seeing these other quarterbacks that we're going to face.
36 carries out of Chase. Was there a point in the second half where you were trying to manage him to get him to the finish line, or was he
Well,
just what you wanted to see?
I think Chase is our best back, right? He's our number one back, and he wants to be in there. I think that Reggie and Chase Hayden both came in prepared and knew that they're going to have to be in there, and there was a point when he took that big hit, right? And I said, hey, let's just make sure 2's all right, because I know what he's going to say, but we have to make sure he's there. I would say 36 carries is a lot. We can't sustain that for a 12-game season, so we'll have to come up with different ways to get the other guys involved in the game, and as well as other players distribute the ball around a little bit different, because 36 carries for a Big Ten back is occasionally it's going to be okay, but that's nothing you can build an entire season off of.
And that's not something that you're going to use as an excuse or anything. But how much does it hurt not having Josh McCray, especially the short yardage and in the red zone?
Yeah, Josh is a good player. Anytime you have a player and you don't have him, it's going to affect you. But I didn't. There wasn't any woes me coming into this game. I think Chase and Reggie both did a nice job in preparation. I don't know exactly how it played out. I don't really, as coaches, we always have a plan before the game starts. I'm not really monitoring reps during the course of the game, but I know there's sometimes where CP rolled Reggie in there as well as Chase, and it just obviously didn't ever convert into anything big. But I thought those guys did a nice job when their number was called.
What explanation were you given on Bryant's play
in
the end zone, and was that a satisfactory?
It's just I said literally, because we have an agreement with our players, right? Like, hey, we want to win, they want to win. If you feel you catch it, I want you to come to me. There was a play last week, right before the end of the half, that we caught a ball, and I just didn't. It was PB. Pat Bryant caught a ball about 20 seconds right before the half, and he knew he was in. He pointed, and I didn't see him across the way, so we had a meeting on Sunday where I showed the replay of that. I said, hey, if you guys feel like this is something you did, right, like be adamant to me, hey, you'll let the officials know you thought you caught it, but also for me that I can make a challenge. So PB came running through the traffic, and he came, he looked at me, he goes, Coach, I caught it, Coach, I caught it. I said, okay. So I walked up to the official and I said, I'm assuming you're gonna replay this. If not, I'm gonna challenge this. Our guy feels he caught it, and they don't really give you an explanation. They just come in and tell you whether or not they confirm or deny. So,
Brett, it feels like you're so close to, last year, a couple close losses, this close loss, to really creating a lot of excitement. Like, how tough are these to take?
yeah, it's tough because you want to see the reward and the dividends of your work. But I'm just you'll start winning games when you deserve it. We did not deserve to win this game the way that we functioned at times. We did again a lot of really good things. I think there's a lot to be excited about. I think people want to be entertained and see some good things. I think to come to the game next week would be a great opportunity. We'll make some improvements. I think we just got to constantly keep finding avenues and new players because we're just paper thin really at certain positions, and at times those things are going to rear their ugly head. So we got to weather the storm. I know I got a locker room full of disappointed players. It's really hard because I think there's a great relationship with our players. It's hard to, when they're down, to correct them and make them understand what they have to do, but it's tough love. They have to understand it, they have to see it, and to be quite honest, I don't know how much the coaches are going to have to point out. They're going to understand just little simple things that we're making it harder on ourselves than we need to do.
All good. Thank you guys.
Thank you.